That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Denver has won just their second game of the year. And I have to take a moment and be happy. Okay. Let's talk tech. $64,000. I know I shouldn't be surprised by that, given that vintage products in mint condition can fetch a lofty price tag, but there is a special edition Lawson's Ticket Nintendo 64 going for $64,646.
Wow. A special edition? A special edition what ticket?
Lawson's Ticket.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, that would just be insane to me. I mean, even my wife was like, I would not buy that, for that kind of price tag. And
yeah,
I can kind of sympathize with that perspective, but I'm sure there's hundreds of people that would just pay a sizable sum to obtain something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, back in July, there was an ultra rare first gen iPhone, sealed, of course, that went for an astounding $190,000. So,
yeah, it's
and
ridiculous.
That was due to the fact that it was a rare 4 gigabyte variant. So,
right.
Which, for those who don't know, that was a storage tier that was discontinued not long after the smartphone's debut. So, actually, I don't know if you knew this one, Riley. There's a pair of sneakers, rare Apple sneakers from the 90s that are going for $50,000.
I actually did not know that they made sneakers. That is,
I didn't know. Yeah, it was one of those event things that they did, and it was handed out to a few people in the conference or whatever, if I remember correctly. So, but it's just pretty cool because I didn't even hear half this stuff or know that it exists. But
I know.
There you go.
Insane. Well, I can't top off that craziness. But we do have some news regarding Intel, who recently revealed 2 new Raptor Lake refresh RPLRs CPUs on Geekbench. The new chips are the mid-range Core i5 14600, which is a 14-core 20-thread, which has been benched to be 2,785 for the single core and 16,110 for the multi-core score. Then there's also the entry-level Core i3 14100. It's a quad-core 8-thread, and for the single core, it showed a score of 2,509, and for the multi-score, it came out to be 14,100. Both were tested on an ASRock Z790 Taichi motherboard with 32 gigs of DDR5 5600 memory. And while these scores do show a boost of performance, very small as it may be, it's still hard to say whether these results reflect the actual performance boost of the refreshed chips. So there were also some other chips that were released, and I wasn't even aware of these. These came out I think last week or the week before, whatever. But these are just 2 of the newer ones that we're going to be able to look forward to. So,
That's interesting.
Yeah, nothing amazing, but
yeah, I mean, not really anything I can comment on, but I mean,
it's just chips.
You kind of expect that Intel would make some jumps from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Although I'm kind of surprised they're still using the. I thought they were going to change the Core i3, Core i5 label, but
I think that was later by the end of the year. I think we rumored.
Yeah, that might be.
I was thinking of that, and I was like, wait, aren't they supposed to do that? And then I realized, oh yeah, it's not coming out yet. But
yeah. So. Before I actually get into my next topic here, right quick, we do have some recent renders for the Pixel 8a. If you want to check those out, they'll be in the link in the description. So I'm not really going to go into depth on that just because we've seen quite a bit from
We'll show Google. An image right here.
Yeah, yes, there you go. We get enough leaks from them anyway, so no big deal.
Oh yeah, all the time.
So remember how Sony announced the Pulse Explore Buds alongside the PlayStation Portal, aka the Nintendo Switch wannabe? Well, due to all the news and craziness in the tech community, 2 weeks ago, Sony launched another set of earbuds, once again geared toward gaming. Okay. These ones are called the InZone Buds. that provide ANC at the same price of the Pulse Explorer.
Okay.
Don't ask me why it's the same price. Quite frankly, it actually begs the question, what would the difference between the two be? But since the Explorers aren't out just yet, we'll kind of have to wait and see on how that
Well, if it's the same
goes.
price, I can't really expect too much in regards to difference between that and the Sound Core, or the what was the first one? Sorry,
The in-zone buds versus the Pulse Explorer?
Yes, the Pulse Explorer, that's right. Yeah.
Which, of course, they have their in-zone over-the-ear headphones for gaming, but I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I know these are geared for gaming, but you've already got two pairs of buds from Sony that are at $200, and then you've also got the mainstream line of the XM5s, the WF XM5s at $250. So it's like, I think it's just getting too inundated here. So
I feel like they can just pull something out of their butts. And,
yes, throw a different name on it and it'll sell. So,
yep.
Anyways,
we have some reliable leakers, Digital Chat Station on Weibo and Max Jamber, stating that the OnePlus 12 will indeed have wireless charging. To add to this, we did have some rumors earlier this year stating that this may happen, so this is not necessarily anything new. There's just a little more information that we're getting right now to kind of further that rumor. And we even had OnePlus come out and say that they had been highly considering adding wireless charging to future releases, obviously not the Open. And clearly there's been a lot of backlash regarding the Open not adding back wireless charging in the last couple of years. And not just the Open, but other ones too, considering that it has been a major importance to OnePlus fans, yourself included, JD. I'm really hoping that they do this. I think that as long as they don't skyrocket the price and add wireless, they could have so many lost users come back to OnePlus. I think I've said it before, where if you have certain qualities that people love about a product and that get removed, you are going to lose a lot of those people because it's what brought them to your company in the first place. Now, I'm not saying that wireless charging is the be-all, end-all, and it's to receive so much praise, but I think it is a major staple in phones today, and that's kind of my take on it. It's almost essential. Almost every single mobile phone, flagship phones, have wireless charging, and it just feels out of place when you're paying a pretty penny for a phone like this. So,
yeah, I agree with you on that point, that I feel like it's more of just a standard practice to throw wireless charging on a phone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I disagree with you, but I would say I'm not entirely sure if throwing that feature onto a phone would grab previous customers.
By no means fully. However, I do think that that was one thing that OnePlus, in their peak, I'll say that much, where they really grabbed attention of a lot of mobile users. Not so much because of the wireless charging, but that was in that era where they were the strongest. So I feel like if you bring that back, that brings that sort of that age of solidity, I guess you could say, for OnePlus. So it's not directly, but I do believe it has some part in it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I'm no longer really excited about wireless charging. I'm waiting for Qi Wireless Charging 2 that actually have the magnet.
Yes,
standard.
That's true.
That's really where I'm at right now, because I really don't use it that much, especially when, I've got like a Pixel and everything like that. And it's just, it's not really, the whole idea behind it is knowing that, have I placed it in the right spot? Is it aligned correctly? And if not, how much heat generation is going to go between the coils and whatnot, and the efficiency and everything,
Always
and how
an
fast
issue.
it will charge. So if once I have the Qi 2 on a phone, I'll be much more happy knowing that I just have to throw it on there. It'll align itself, and then I can just be on my way. So it's one of those things where I'm actually glad that other companies, or I guess other standards, are copying what Apple has initiated. So, which is a rare thing to say, actually. So,
Yeah, I know, rarity for sure.
But in either case, we'll move on to some deals here. We have 50% off Soundcore headphones. These are earbuds. They're originally $40 down to $20. So that'll start you off a nice small price for you guys.
And for another pair of earbuds, we have the JBL Tune 2030 NC True Wireless in-ear noise canceling headphones. Those were at $99.95, and now they're at $49.95. So that's a 50% deal on there as well.
There you go. And then last one, this is for a little bit more you big time buyers. We have the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip. I believe this one has... give me one moment here. I believe this has the 64 gigabytes of RAM and 4 terabytes. Mm-hmm. It's originally $4,900. It's down to $3,000. So that's $1,900 right there.
That's a fair deal.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice deal. And I mean, I know it's, prior gen, but honestly, those things are still fast. So powerful. So it's not like, you're going to feel like you're missing out or anything like that. But
yeah.
Either case, we'll get back to regular news here. And first one is the Google Pixel Watch. So a small item of interest is that you have or are currently experiencing issues setting up your Pixel Watch, and it's taking an inordinate amount of time to do so. If that's the case, you're not alone. This problem was present on the first gen Pixel Watch, and once again, it surfaces this year on the latest model from Google. This issue evolves into errors where your phone will prompt you to reset the watch and reset up the smartwatch.
That's weird.
It is weird. I actually didn't have the issue with the delayed setup as I was working my way through migrating my Fitbit account over to Google. But by the time it was all said and done, I did get that notification to reset the smartwatch and, set it up again. So just know that you may encounter that experience and that Google is aware of it. There just isn't any current fix. So, nothing notably horrible about this compared to like the 15th gen iPhone transfer setups. So, but something to take note of.
Every device usually has some issue and it may have gone unnoticed. And that's where I say, like, I don't slam Apple for having that issue every now and again, but when you have it constantly coming up, that's where I have an issue with it. But yeah, that's interesting though, and like I said, it is odd that that's happening, but hopefully they kind of
I think even the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro have been having issues where when you plug in the smartphone to the smartphone integration to the car, Android Auto won't work. So people have tried some fixes where they have to uninstall the app and reinstall it, and I guess that fixes it temporarily, but nothing for sure. I'm not sure if Google has released an update for Android Auto on that one. That rumor I saw a little while back. I think it might have been last week. So just know that that's also you got your watch and your phone. So,
well, a follow-up item to Google's Pixel phones is that there were a few features on those 8th gen smartphones that we mentioned might come but didn't make it to the final product, at least as of the public release. The first was super slow motion, or 720p at 480 frames per second. No one really has any clear speculation on why this feature didn't make it, other than maybe they felt that unless the lighting conditions were perfect, then the quality wouldn't be all that desirable, which makes sense. Obviously, you have 720. Is it really worth it to go at that FPS? That's kind of debatable. Yeah, but that's more so a guess. Second was 8K. We heard about how the camera hardware supports 8K at 30 frames per second. However, it was warned that this may not ship to the users as the codec would likely not be ready yet. And in all likelihood, this could be something we might see next year. So hopefully that'll be on the 999 Pro. We'll just have to wait and see how that works. Last feature that I was kind of bummed about was the much anticipated DisplayPort alternative mode, which will allow video source output from the phone via USB-C, much similar to Samsung DeX. Yes. And the irony here is that even the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max ship with this capability, and yet Google didn't feel like it was prudent enough to bring it to us, at least as of now. So, yeah, hopefully maybe all of these might come next year, and maybe there'll be some fixes where you can add a little more quality to the slow-mo and, add the 8K. But yeah, what did you think about these losses here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really big. I don't know about the listeners here. I'm not really big into slow motion. I think it's cool, and I think what the cameras are capable of nowadays is really good, and you can use it. I just don't. I don't know. 480 frames per second, 720. I mean, like you said, I think it would have to be really good lighting conditions, because at that lower quality, I just don't know how well that would work. Yeah, I agree with that. That would be a good guess to go off of. Again, neither of us are photographers, but that's kind of what I'm speculating that one.
For sure.
8K, are we really there yet? Do we really need that? But I mean, it's cool.
I think it's pretty cool.
I think it's great that your phone could be capable of recording that, and if the hardware supports it, and they didn't offer it, then I don't think there's any love lost there. It's just kind of, I'd rather it be ready, for final release versus trying to rush it. So, but yeah, to that last one, that really was, I agree, that was really the biggest one, because I just can't believe that. Like, you have these premier phones out there, and you can't get DisplayPort over USB-C available on them. But like you said, hopefully that'll be something they can either release in a software update, or just something that'll come out next year with a 9. So
hope so.
We'll have to wait and see on that one. Actually, real quick before I get into my next topic, the other thing that actually runs online with this is we had rumors indicating that the Pixel Watch 2 would support UWB, or ultra wideband technology. And this is kind of allowing it to interact in ways like smart keys, Find My Network for Google, among other add-ons and features, much like you see with the iPhone.
Right.
And although this was in the preliminary source code, the pre-production phase for Google decided that the second-gen watch wouldn't adopt that feature.
Okay.
They didn't actually, So this little guy doesn't have it, unfortunately. But I don't know. I would have liked to have that one. That would have been nice, just because I feel like that's more tangible, something more practical. But
I feel like it's easier to put on a watch than these other things on a phone. Kind of makes me question why Pixel would not add that.
I don't. It could be another one of those things where they're trying to throw those on to later generations to entice you to buy them, the third one, to make it still sound appealing. I don't know.
Using the playbook from Apple.
Something, yeah. So, but this one here for T-Mobile,
oh boy,
was something that had many of those customers curious, because they really hadn't received any confirmation or word from the carrier on how it would proceed with the recent uptick in Netflix prices. At least until now. They have announced that they will continue to offer the Netflix on Us, and that users would still be able to pay add-ons if they wanted more than just the base or the standard plan.
Okay.
Depending on what carrier plan you're on. But yeah, I know for me, that was a bit of a question, because Netflix they've made 2 bumps in price now since that's happened.
Yes.
And we haven't really heard anything. So for now, on the indeterminate future, we will still have that on T-Mobile. So
okay. And then for our closing topic here, this is kind of an interesting one to discuss. It's kind of a normal topic, but leads into an interesting discussion. So YouTube is trying to implement AI on their platform, but this time it's in regards to singing. Obviously on TikTok, there's a lot of that happening. So this kind of makes sense now. Earlier this year, an AI was able to perfectly synthesize the voice of a professional songwriter, artist Drake, and make a song that sounded uncanny to the popular hip-hop artist. And as you can imagine, there have been a lot of legal issues with this when it comes to AI. The way, obviously, as many of you know, AI is able to synthesize Drake's voice and able to synthesize basically anything is based on the information it's given. So whether that's images, whether that's sound or whatever, it's able to redistribute that out because it's actually a learning program. Well, the legal issue there is that it technically is using someone's work to make your own work. YouTube is doing its best to work with the music industry, and work some sort of legal way of allowing music to be used in its learning-based system. I want you to respond, obviously, but I have an interesting question to ask you as it does pertain to AI after you've responded. So you can go ahead and just whatever you think about this, go for it.
I really got nothing. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I guess I understand the controversy, of course, but, yeah, it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
You know, the evolution of AI. I think that's something that if you didn't see it coming, you'd kind of be a fool to think that way, and definitely naive.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Go ahead with your question then. I'm really curious.
Okay. So my wife actually brought this whole topic up at the beginning of this year because there's been a lot of issues in the art community with regards to people taking artists' work, putting all of it into their AI system, and then outputting it as their own work. So the question is, do you think that drawing artists, I should say specifically, should be taken just as seriously as music artists when it comes to having their own rights to their own work?
I don't know why that would be any different. I mean, it's artists. I mean,
you would think
visual, audio, I don't really think it makes a difference to me because it's something that's custom. And I think even, I don't know, you can kind of compare it to brush strokes on a canvas to inflections and tones in a voice. It's very unique. It's a signature. So I don't really, I mean, if someone saw it differently, I guess that wouldn't surprise me because there's people like that.
Oh, yeah. There are plenty of people that this is actually, I would say, weirdly enough, one of our more controversial topics because this is a fairly split issue. There are people on the other side of this that say, well, no, because the AI is making it different, that's not your work. It's just based off of it in a sense. So it doesn't really count, if you will. But then that brings the whole argument to, well, if music artists are able to stake claims on YouTube and copyright issues and all that kind of stuff, what makes an artist different? Because they've put so much time and energy and work into making a piece of art, and they've mastered their skill over years, and it's the same argument for music artists. So this is just one of those things where it's kind of gets annoying, and people are so stuck up about it on the other side of this whole thing. And it's pretty crazy. So that's kind of where I brought this from, because I saw this topic and I was like, that's pretty interesting. Aside from the fact that you'll be able to possibly sing like an artist on YouTube without having to have any music skill at all or vocal.
Okay, so here's my question. They're using the AI to make their voices sound like an artist, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, like, I think if there was some sort of badging that differentiated the two, I don't think that would be a problem.
No,
and
I don't think so.
Here's what I'm thinking. And the exception to it, if you were to take the data from a masterpiece of art and input it into AI and then pull it out as something else based on that, in my mind, I would perceive that as a quote unquote remix. That's how I would see it.
Yes, I would agree. But you should also make sure that you state the user who originally had those images and stuff. That's the point. I don't care, like, if you remix a song, if you remake a picture, whatever. I have no problem with that. But when you're not actually stating who the original creator was, and letting them have the
credit,
have the credit, that's the issue I have with. So
that's interesting. Riley evidently didn't know my final set list. So we do have, I guess if you want to call it a bonus item here.
Here we go. All right.
The time has come. Not too long ago, we mentioned how Elon Musk would introduce X as a 100% paywall platform.
Oh, yeah.
That has finally come. And if you want to perceive that as finally, that's up to you. But yeah, it's starting to roll out. And to clarify further, this rollout is only taking place in the Philippines and New Zealand. And it is only for new users.
Okay.
At least as of now. The cost to use X on a yearly basis is a whopping $1.
Nice. Getting those gains. It's good.
Musk goes on to say that this is truly the best way to go about preventing bots on the platform. And clearly with $1, I don't think it's going to be a lot to ask, as a way to access the platform.
Yeah.
a little over 1/4 of a penny a day. I
was just trying to figure out in my head how much that was.
Yeah. That could be
funny.
a lot worse. So it's just,
could.
Throwing your credit card in there, $1 a year. I don't think that's horrible. It's just kind of trying to verify that, you're not a bot. So, which I'm curious how things will play out and possibly how, trying to think of another word for predator, but hackers or whatever, how you want to term it, will try to counteract that. Maybe they'll use some sort of AI. I have no idea, but at least as from now, I wouldn't mind paying $1. It's not a big deal, but there you go.
Not really. When I saw this article, I kind of had to almost laugh just a little bit because I just $1 a year in my mind, that just sounds hilarious. But I understand. Is it the best way to do this? Close to it. I feel like this is one way to combat that whole bot issue. So I don't really have a problem with it per se. I think it's one of the better things that Musk has done for Twitter, and that's saying a lot. But
that's saying a huge amount. It kind of caught me with a thought there, because I think customers would kind of think, oh, well, it's a yearly subscription, so man, what if I get caught off guard and forget? If you get caught off guard by $1 that causes you to overdraft, then you got some serious problems.
Yes, it's so true though. Honestly, you just gotta make a reminder every year. Oh, I gotta get that $1.
Make that $1 and we're good to go. I got X for another year.
That's funny. Honestly.
But in either case, that wraps up this week's episode. We will be back for another one, another debatable. Yeah, I don't even know. I've got a couple of topics already. I'm not sure about you, Riley, but
nothing yet. We'll see.
With that said, this is JD and Riley, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Peace out.